Anyway, so there's a bar at the famous bar at Cabaret Metro beneath it called the Smart Bar, and I'm at the bar, sitting at the bar, and I kind of look next to me, and sits down. Noel Gallagher came and sat next to me. He's like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, all right." He went, "Mary Biker." And I went, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, no, nice to meet you." And he said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Oh, I'm playing in a band called Pigface. I'm not playing in the Bikers anymore." Because he knew I was in the Gaye Bykers On Acid. And then he went, "No reason your band never did anything. You had shit songs."
Episode 99 of the Stupid and Contagious podcast. Nearly there, nearly to the 100. This week we're talking to Gaye Bykers On Acid. It's a fun one. That's coming up. This week, those of you watching will notice that that's not Dave. We got Mike on.
Unless he's grown a beard in a week.
Much better looking a version of Dave. But
yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
Dave's on holiday, so they couldn't be fucked. So Mike, he got in touch anyway because he wants to promote something, and we thought kill two birds with one stone. We get Mike on. He's a friend of the podcast, and he's going to fill in for Dave, which isn't really hard, is it? Because it's Dave, isn't it?
Well, I've got no stories about horses, unfortunately.
Mike, what have you been up to this week? What's been going on?
Not a massive amount, to be honest. I was supposed to be down in Birmingham at the weekend for a friend's 50th party, but we had to cancel that because she wasn't very well, so that's a shame. And I was taking the guitar down to play a few songs as well. So I think I'm going to reschedule that in a couple of months. So apart from that, played golf on Saturday, got burnt, and then I've been binging Squid Game. Final series of Squid Game.
Don't tell me. I've only watched the first couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good though, right? So far, it's fucking good.
Yeah. First series, I don't think I understood it. First series, I went back to it after watching the second series because I just thought it was a bit mindless, brutality. But oh god, no! It's this. You do some thinking.
No, it's character studies. It's great. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's good.
So
it's
good fun. You'll enjoy that when you catch up with it.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you watch any of Glastonbury?
Caught a bit of Pulp, and that was about it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see a little bit of the Blossoms, but no, I tend to avoid it, to be honest. It's not a great deal that interests me. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, I did suspect we'd be talking about it for some reason.
No, I always like to tune in and have a look. Well, me and Luke, we were talking about this when the Glastonbury lineup come out. And obviously, we don't really know who half the people are, but that's the point, isn't it? It's for the younger folk, isn't it? That should be what it's all about.
All the young Rod Stewart fans.
Sure.
Apart from Rod Stewart, yeah. Fuck it now, yeah.
Yeah. Although I saw that Olivia Rodrigo brought on Robert Smith as a crossover, the generation.
Oh, did she?
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, I don't mind that Olivia
brilliant.
Rodrigo. She was quite good. Seems quite pleasant. Anyway, we're not going to go into the controversy around it because
aren't we? Go on there. All right.
We could spend an hour on it, but
I'm only going to say the only controversy is that it's a controversy.
Yeah, true. Agreed.
Who else did you watch at Glasgow, Neil?
Me. I just sort of dipped in and out. 1975. I mean, 1975.
Why'd you do that?
Look, the 1975 are the 1975. They are what they are, and they did what they do, and that's all I can say. Really.
Make boring music. Are you a fan, Mike, of 1975? Back me up on this. Come on.
No, I'm in your corner, Luke.
Thanks, fam.
I tell you, I did catch Snow Patrol. They were good. They haven't played there since I went 2004, and they put on quite a good show.
It's off the first album,
which is great, right?
It's a brilliant album, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. Yeah, me and Luke went to see Snow Patrol at the Albert in Brighton, which is tiny.
They were supporting Magoo, my favourite.
Yeah.
Magoo.
Okay.
Yeah,
they were good. Brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think they do anything off the first album anymore, though, or the second actually. It's just the big stuff in it now, chasing cars and all that shit.
Indie anthems.
Yeah. But they were quite
Remember
good.
that was voted like #1 in like the 500 greatest songs of all time once, Chasing Cars. It was like when it was popular.
It's huge, wasn't it?
Yeah, and some,
Massive
you know,
song.
I think it was like the local radio. They had like, you know, a weekend of like the 500 best songs ever, and voted for by the listeners. And it was Chasing Cars was #1. What the fuck?
Yeah. I tell you who else was good who I'd never really listened to. Wonder Horse. They were quite good. Have you ever heard much of their stuff?
I know a little bit, but
No.
yeah, I know a little bit.
They're all right. Yeah, like I said, I just dipped in and out.
The one thing about the controversy, the only thing that I would observe is how the
it's BBC. All right if you do it.
Well, it's just a comment about the BBC and how they didn't predict it. You know, after last year in Idols, it's like you would have thought there was someone hovering with a finger on the to pull the cables out.
You'd have thought so, wouldn't you? It's not hard, is it? I'm glad they didn't, though.
That's all I have to say on the subject.
Yeah. Luke, what have you been up to? Driving, haven't you?
Driving, just got back, 10 minutes before we came on. I've been out on the motorway today. Didn't enjoy that.
And motorways are easy. You just sit there and just go.
Too fast. Yes.
Not the Autobahn.
I know. But, you know, like it's like, if you've been skiing, it's the reason I don't like skiing. You don't feel 100% in control. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I didn't like it.
Yeah. And then you watch yourself back on the videos and you realise you're actually just going like that.
Yeah. Oh, it does. And it feels like you're right. Yeah, I know. You're right.
But the thing with that is, certainly when I learned to drive many, many decades ago, you couldn't go on the motorway until you'd passed the test. And then when my son learned, he said, I'm going on the motorway today. I said, you can't do that. You've not passed your test, but it's different now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you couldn't. So you passed your test and you'd never been on the motorway.
Pass your test and then you sent on, and then you go on the motorway. Like,
that's right. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah.
In fact, my instructor said, once you pass your test, I'll give you one more lesson where we'll go on the motorway, which was a good idea, really.
Wow.
It's a good idea. That should be compulsory, doesn't it? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. What about music? Anything, Luke?
Well, loads of anarcho-punk. Listener Matt Jammy sent me a load of anarcho-punk and a playlist to listen to. So I listened to that and I watched a documentary on Crass, which was brilliant. And so loads of anarcho-punk, basically.
I got a story about Matt Jammy.
I know what you're going to say, but tell us.
I know.
I heard from Matt. Go on.
I was in Brighton the other day, and I was in the hospital. I just went in to use the toilets, and I was walking along the corridor, and I just heard, "Are you from the Stupid and Contagious podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it was Matt Jammy's missus.
Yeah.
She works in the hospital, and she
all right
bumped into her. There you go.
Shout out to Julie.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So that was weird.
How did it feel to be recognised in public like a rock star?
We made it, haven't we? Made it.
We made it.
Yeah.
He'd always got his pen out for the autograph, hadn't he? It was like, where do you want me to start?
I was already signing stuff.
Yeah. So no, I'm good.
Or it's good you have stood outside the hospital with a billboard. I'm the one from the Stupid and Contagious podcast.
I'm famous.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah. Quite nice. We like Matt.
We do indeed. Yeah, and he sent me loads of anarcho punks to listen to, so I've been doing that and buying loads of records. I've been buying so many records lately. I have like this record shop in Japan, Disc Union, and you can go on you can put records on a want list. I think I've said before, and if they come up, you get an email. So I've got like 80 or 90 records on this want list, and usually they don't come up, and sometimes they just all come up at once. Do you know what I mean? So like I got Carter, Worry Bomb. It's been on my want list for like 2 years.
It's a nice looking record, that one, isn't it? Nice
looking record. It's got second disc with a live in like Zagreb or something like that on it. It's got free. Includes limited edition LP, Donna Sportoba, live in Zagreb, 20th of the 5th, 94. That's on it. Stuff like that. Got Dinosaur Jr., Bug.
Oh, which one?
Album.
Wow.
Bug. Yeah, again, because it's not like the jacket's not in a great condition. And because they're so strict in Japan, if there's even slightly a bit of damage, it's kind of cheap. So it was a reasonable price because the jacket's not perfect, basically. So
can't you go around in the record shops just sort of
damaging
playing around with the
Yeah.
So oh man, that's got freak scene on.
Yeah,
that's great.
Mike, you've done a few Dinosaur Jr. covers, haven't you, on your channel?
I have. I've done Little Fury Things, and my last one was Get Me.
Oh right.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, Mike's got his own YouTube channel. Is it My Cover Story?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, where he does indie covers. Is it it's just 90s indie, is it? Mainly.
Mainly it's 90. Yeah, I'm not limited to that. There's an Explosions in the Sky song that I did from the 2000s.
Wow, that's got to be difficult to cover.
Yeah, it firstly takes
Yeah.
minutes. 8 minutes. So doing it in one
exactly,
take in 8 minutes is tricky. But
With
yeah.
just you and an acoustic guitar?
Yeah, and a bit of help from a loop pedal as well on that one. But,
Wow,
Ed
cool.
Sheeran style.
He just
not Ed
compared you to
Sheeran
Ed
style.
Sheeran.
Can you imagine Ed Sheeran doing Explosion in the Sky?
I'd like to see it.
My apologies.
But yeah. So I've got the Wagon lined up as well, which is probably my favourite Dinosaur Jr.
Okay, you
song
haven't
of
put it
all
out
time.
yet.
Yeah. I
Great.
mean,
Great.
it's a difficult sort of guitarist to pull off in the old mask. It's fucking insane, some of the stuff he does.
Yes. Yeah. On Get Me. I spent quite a while trying to learn the solo, which I play with an electric guitar on that one. So it wouldn't sound any good without the fuzz pedal.
Yeah, you got to put a bit of that in there, haven't you? You got to put a bit of that in it. All right. So should we get into this week's podcast?
Yes.
Gaye
should say
Bykers
so.
on Acid, isn't it? Let's do it. If you are watching this, then please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, get involved in the comments, share it with your friends. That's the best way that people can find our podcast. And if you're listening, do the same, share it with your mates. And then if we put anything on Facebook, share that on your Facebook pages. And hopefully people can find us that way. Got an app. You can download the Stupid app onto your telephones. Dave lovingly made that app. Takes you seamlessly from the podcast to the mixtape. Listen to the mixtape. Luke lovingly puts that together every week. Yeah, so as I said earlier on, Mike got in touch because he's got something he wants to tell you all about. So I'm just going to let Mike tell you about it.
So I'm wearing this T-shirt for a particular reason, a Teenage Fan Club T-shirt. So there's a group of us on a Facebook group which is called the Teenage Fan Club, and there's a bunch of obviously fans of the band there. And one of the things that we have done a few times is put some music together. So we basically do recordings of Teenage Fan Club songs, bundle them together into a record, and then release it. Not for money; it's all for charity. So the third installment in the project, and the project's called "What They Do to Me," which obviously is a reference to one of Teenage Fan Club's greatest songs. So this one is the third one. And it is based around the post-creation year, so basically from 2005, Man Made onwards, and extending out to Lightships, Jerry's stuff, and I think there's some stuff with Jad Fair on there as well. So anyway, this release comes out on Friday, which I think is today, so it's 4th of July. It'll be available on Bandcamp.
Yes, it will be. Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll get some links in the description.
Do that for you.
So if you would like to listen to some Teenage Fan Club covers, and they are all really good, there's 22 songs on there. I've listened to them all, and they're all fantastic. The first track on there, actually, I'll just have a quick mention for Jamie and Danny Kershaw, who are friends at the podcast, half of Mega Fishy 4, and they've done a cover. They've done a cover of "I'm in Love." They do like an alias, those two, so I think they're under the alias of Good Trouble for that song. So look out for that one. That's the first one on the record. But then there are some really good reimaginings of other Teenage Fan Club songs. I'm covering "Slow Fade."
I didn't manage to get it to Luke in time, but you sent that to me, and I had a watch. It's very good. And not just saying that, I was impressed. Did you do all the instruments on that? Did you?
Yeah, I did it all. Obviously, I didn't play the drums. The drums are programmed.
No, programmed them. Yeah.
The rest of it is, and a lot of the people that are doing it, it's same as me, just one man band, just doing all the recording and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of a bit of a labour of love. But
it sounds.
They're
great.
all exceptional songs. Yeah, as I say, I've listened to them all, and they are all really good.
Yeah.
Whilst I'm talking about Jamie and Danny as well, and Mega Fishy 4, I just want to mention as well, they're playing in Brighton on the 19th of July. With Midway Still and the Charlemagnes.
That'd be good.
Charlemagnes is
With the Charlemagnes,
Ben's Ben's fan.
Yeah, so there's
I'm going.
Yeah,
okay,
so
I'll head down. I think.
Yeah, Midway Still. They've done this sort of the last 3 years. They've picked a week in July and just done 5 gigs. So I think they're playing in Birmingham, Manchester, Oxford, London, and then they're finishing on the 19th at the Prince Albert. So that will be a really good gig.
Be
so
great.
anyone that's down there, you need to
Amazing.
take Dave down there. So yeah, just a look plug for that as well.
We don't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
He might enjoy himself.
He would enjoy it. I'll try and bring him around.
To the race, just one last thing I need to say about it. It's raising money for Tiny Changes, which is a Scottish charity addressing youth mental health. So
Brilliant.
all for a good cause. So if you follow the link to Bandcamp, then from there you can get to a Just Giving site where we're trying to raise some money. So Friday, after you listen to this, head over there, have a listen, donate a bit of money. That would be fantastic.
That'd be great.
Brilliant.
Is it a physical release or just digital?
No, it's just streaming. You can download it. You can stream it on Bandcamp, or you can download it. It's free. So yeah, there's no charge for that. We just ask people to make a donation to charity.
Okay, so they just need. Well, yeah. So make sure that you're generous in those donations if you're listening to the music.
Yeah,
Do the right
come
thing.
on, people. It's totally irrelevant to all this charity stuff, but in Japan, like, because sometimes there's like spelling mistakes when they write stuff in English, as you would, right? If you were writing something in Japanese, you wouldn't do it perfectly.
Translating something.
On two separate occasions recently, I've gone into record shops and Teenage Fan Club's been written as Teenage Fun Club with a U.
I quite like that.
Yeah, which I quite like as well. Yeah. Two separate shops. Teenage
There you
Fun
go.
Club.
Get a Teenage Fun Club T-shirt. So let's get on to this week's guest. Gaye Bykers On Acid. They were good, weren't they, back in the day?
Yeah.
Mike, were you a fan?
Wasn't really. No, they sort of passed me by a little bit, but
You really are playing the Dave role. Brilliant.
I absolutely, yeah. Although I will say that I have gone and listened to some of the stuff, and I'm kind of disappointed because I know that me as a sort of 12, 13, 14-year-old would have really liked that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that I missed it, but there you go.
Yeah,
It was maybe a little bit too early for me.
I think they were for us.
Right
Same
at the
for us
end
as
of
well.
the
Yeah.
80s, early 90s, but
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
it's good
caught
stuff.
them on a few compilations and stuff. But yeah, I think that was.
So I think I'm the same, yeah.
But I went back and had a watch and listen. And I mean, some of those videos look a bit dated, didn't they? I don't know if anyone went and watched any of the stuff on YouTube.
I didn't see those.
Yeah, they look very sort of 80s, 90s. They're good.
Sure.
It's worth
Well, it
a
was.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
All right.
Really was.
Have you got a Wikipedia description?
No, I haven't. Hang on.
I'm going to say English alternative rock band. Something
Is
like
it
that. It's
something
always
like
something
so
like
I
that.
think
isn't it?
Wikipedia says psychedelic rock or something like that.
It does.
Psychedelic.
It does. Mike's right.
Ooh.
Yeah. English psychedelic rock band. There you go.
I mean, that doesn't really describe them at all, does it? I mean, there's a bit of
I don't
psych
think so.
in there, but I mean, to put that as like the only thing to describe them, then I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm
it's
going to
a
go
bit
for
lame.
proto Grebo. What do you reckon to that? So
We'll go with that.
we've got basically the main original lineup. So Mary Byker, one of today's guests. Robber Byker, another one of today's guests. Tony Byker and Kev Byker. And so they've been different members over the years, but there's also a third guest on today's interview, Billy Boy Byker, Will Crewston as well. So Billy Boy Byker, yeah. So it formed in Leicester, late 1984. Basically, proto Grebo, right? A chaotic mix of punk and indie and hip hop samples and funk and whatever, just chucked in the mix.
Yeah,
right?
it was a fusion.
Yeah, but more
that.
chaotic than like Populate Yourself and stuff. I think for me, there's a bit more chaos behind it. Do you agree? A bit more punk.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think a lot of that might be down to the technology, although Populate Yourself probably had similar sort of technology back when they
Yeah, they're only like a year or so behind. Yeah. And they were
Yeah.
described as a burst of dirty thunder. What do you reckon to that?
Burst of dirty thunder. Well, I guess.
I was waiting for you to make a fart joke, Neil, but you didn't take my...
Maybe I'm behaving myself.
You are, because we got
Should I?
company. A bit. No, come on.
Leave if you like.
He just needs to come
No.
out of his shell. It's all right. So debut
Burst of
single
dirty
in
thunder.
1986. I've seen it written different as Everything's Groovy or Everything's Groovy. I've seen it written both ways.
Well, I prefer
I go. So do I. Discogs says Thang. So
Yeah.
that's what we're
Go
going
with
with.
that.
Everything's Groovy. And second single, Nosedive Karma, came out in 1987. He talks about in the interview, but basically they both did really well, especially in the indie charts. Spent a long time on the indie charts, pretty high up, etc. And by then, so like Populate Yourself had started, and Grebo basically started to become a thing. I won't talk about it too much because we've got to do a future wang on Grebo, haven't we? I say this every time we have a Grebo band on, and we haven't done one yet, but
We keep teasing
Yeah.
it, don't we? But we will do
Yeah.
one. Yeah, we will. Well,
Yeah. So I won't go into it too much, but yeah. So
Mike,
doing well
you
on
a bit
indie
of a
charts.
Grebo back in the day.
I was very into the Wonderstuff.
Yeah.
Neds.
Grebo.
Not so much Pop Police itself, but yeah.
Are you a Fraggle?
I was a Fraggle. I was definitely a Fraggle.
Right.
Did you were you Grebo fashion? Did you
I
have
was
like
one
a
of the
single
few
dreadlock?
people. No, I could try it now. But I was one of the only people where I lived that didn't have a Ned shirt. I stuck to Wonderstuff shirts, but they were literally everywhere.
Man, no.
Right. Where was this?
Just north of Birmingham. Grew up in Birmingham.
Okay, so right, yeah, in that area, right? Yeah.
In the right area,
Yeah.
So this got them signed to Virgin, and they released their debut album called Drill Your Own Hole in 1987. And it talks about it in the interview, but they also had an accompanying film to go with the album as well, which apparently I haven't seen it, but apparently it is ambitious. They're multimedia nodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently there's like a whole, they're like taking the piss out of the music industry in the film, apparently. I haven't seen it.
I think it's on YouTube. I think you can go and watch it on YouTube. I think it's on there.
Have you seen it, Mike?
No.
And again, we talk about it, but the first 1,000 copies of the album came supposedly with the center hole of the record. Well, it's just papered over, we discovered, but the idea was with no center hole. You have to drill your own hole.
I only just got that. Right.
What the fuck? You drill your own hole. That's the title of the album.
Yeah, got it now. That's clever.
Yeah. I'm wondering what other titles you could have to do similar things. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, it would have to be something to do with a hole, wouldn't it?
I don't know. There are other ways to customize the records, aren't there? I don't know.
True, yeah.
Like, do you know the band Jockstrap? A recent band, not Arab Strap, Jockstrap. Their record has got like a blank cover, and it comes with stickers, and you're supposed to put the stickers in to make the front cover using the stickers that come with it.
See, I'm not involved in this vinyl stuff. Go on, Mike.
I can say my favourite, it was CD, but Spiritualised, Ladies and Gentlemen, we're floating in space. Came as you hate it?
Keep going, Mike. Keep going.
Right, I'm off.
We've spoken about this before. It's annoying, isn't it? You've got once you've opened it, you've just got a fucking broken box that you've got to keep your CD.
Are you talking about the single blister pack or the 12 3-inch CD ones, Mike?
The single blister pack.
The single blister pack, yeah. But they also had like the 12 one with 3-inch CDs, one track on each 3-inch CD. What you reckon about
it?
that?
I found it annoying. I think it's just me that found it annoying.
I just remember finding that, and
that's
true.
With your other CDs,
you could. It's in the paper box. You just put it back inside and put it on. And
but I like the way that the liner notes were like the paper sheets that
like
you get with your medicine. So you open it up and
the concept was great. It just for me, it just became annoying. But it's a great bit of marketing for sure. Yeah,
maybe we'll talk about it another time, but I think that's got a good case for the best album of the 90s, Ladies and Gentlemen, We're Floating in Space.
Yeah, you say that, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
It's good.
I do.
Good.
It's definitely my top one or two.
Mike, you a fan? Spiritualised?
Spiritualised, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they were good.
Okay, so they did that. They were playing some gigs of some made up bands. We don't get into it in the interview. It was on my question sheet, but it didn't really flow as part of the conversation. But pretty funny stuff, right? So they had a band called Lesbian Dope Heads on Mopeds, which was again, it was just them. But the best thing of all, they made up a band called Rectum with umlauts over the U, and claimed that they were a German thrash metal band that had escaped over the Berlin Wall, and and the music press believed it, and they released one album and a 12-inch. They got offered a pill session, and they're basically
talk about any of this.
There was I which didn't.
Are we talking about it now? It's fine.
It didn't flow right.
We're talking about it now. It's fine.
We're talking about it now. And they hired like actors to like appear in a photo shoot to like send pictures of them out to the press and stuff. And apparently they completely, everyone believed it. And everyone thought they were amazing. And they got like rave reviews, and they were like this like underground band that had escaped from East Germany.
That's great.
They put themselves and their alter egos on the bill as well. So they supported themselves so that they could get paid twice, basically.
Yes. Clever,
That's
right?
Great.
It's clever.
I love shit like that. Yeah, brilliant.
Genius.
I think outside the box, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and apparently someone let slip to a journalist backstage at Reading that it was all a con, and then everyone got really angry about it because they'd been conned, which is it's good, right? It's a great rock and roll swindle.
Indeed. Right there.
Yeah, it's a good story though, right? Imagine if there really
It is
was like a German thrash band that escaped over the Berlin Wall. How good would that have been, right? It's amazing though that the Berlin Wall was still up. It seems like fucking history, right? Mike, you're a couple of years older than us, I think, maybe 1 or 2. Do you remember it? Are you old enough to remember it like more than we do?
Remember it coming down, yeah?
Yeah,
I remember the wall coming down. Didn't old Hasselhoff, didn't he have something to do with it?
He did it.
It was him, wasn't it?
100% down to Hasselhoff. It was him. Yeah.
Didn't he sing something?
I
on
don't
the
remember
wall
that
or
bit.
something?
Yeah. No, well, he
Maybe I
sang on top
dreamt
of the
it.
wall, didn't he?
Yeah,
Looking out for
didn't
freedom.
he?
No, he did. He sang Looking Out for Freedom on the wall. And then
Yeah.
basically after that, the wall came down. He did
And then the
He
Scorpions
united East and West Germany.
whistled the wind of change. Was that before?
Exactly. It came in.
I have vague memories of the Berlin Wall from my childhood, that it was there. I mean, it's not an interesting comment, to be fair, so you should just carry on.
My sister used to have a piece of it. I think my dad brought it back from a trip to Germany.
Really?
Which is pretty
He
cool.
started it then.
But I guess a lot of people have
He
already got a
started-
piece of it, right?
He started pulling down
Yeah.
the wall.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Nutted it. Yeah. Yeah. Second album, Stewed to the Gills, came out in 1989. They talk about it in the interview, but yeah, it's seen as a better, a more coherent album, but it wasn't enough to satisfy the record company, and they were dropped by
Right.
Virgin. So they carried on and made their own record label called Naked Brain Records. The third album came out in 1990, Cancer Planet Mission, followed closely by a fourth album, also in 1990, called Pernicious Nonsense. But by then, it was pretty much all over, and they broke up. And I won't go into it because they go into it in detail, but they all went on to do a load of very successful, very interesting things. But listen to the interview to find out what that was. So that's it.
Yeah,
That's
all
Gaye
right.
Bykers on Acid.
Let's have a listen to the interview and then we'll come back and have a chat afterwards. Is Gaye Bykers on Acid. Enjoy. Guys, thanks so much for coming on. Where's everyone zooming in from today? Got different places.
We're zooming in from Brighton.
Oh,
Oh.
Brighton boys, like myself.
Yeah, sunny Brighton.
I'm in Seaford. I'm in
How are
Seaford
you?
at the moment.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
sunny Seaford.
Got a fantastic
Yeah.
museum. My
Museum. Have you been to that? Martello
The
Tower.
Martello.
Museum?
It's great in there, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
It's good.
great.
It's good.
Yeah,
All that junk the parents used to collect is all in one place now.
it is. It's all there.
I'm in London, so yeah, which is why I'm not in the room with that.
It's hot there, isn't it? Hot and sticky and that.
Oh.
Right?
it's
It's tropical, it's-
you know.
Hey, I am sweaty, yeah. Been running around like a headless chicken, you know. But yeah,
All right. As there's so many of you, do you want to just do a quick introduction? Say who everyone is.
I'm Rob a biker, apparently.
I'm apparently Mary Biker.
Pronouns,
for the
So,
them.
He, him, them.
Sure.
for the purposes of this, I'm Billy Boy Biker
okay.
and everything else
Nice.
that bikers do, which is quite a lot. We're doing a lot, which is great.
Like what kind of stuff you've been up to recently?
Yeah,
as a
tell us
band?
about it.
Well, we've been sort of playing little gigs here and there, sort of little tourettes here and there. That's going to.
Rob has got Tourette.
Sure.
We went to that bearded place.
We played.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, how's that?
Yeah, it was really good. Really,
Apart from the catering, which was terrible.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh, we won't get asked back now. Well done.
yeah.
What?
Bloody hell.
Right. But
The cheesecake was great. Yeah.
oh, I like a cheesecake.
actually, Robert's here today because we're working on some music. We've got a couple of new tunes coming up. We're about to say goodbye to our original drummer with a couple of gigs, and then we've welcomed on board the bass player of Adam the Ants, who's a friend of Will's, who's
all right.
who's going to be playing drums with the band. So things are sort of moving on slightly. We're actually sort of writing stuff and hopefully in the new year we'll have a little tour and maybe a 6-track or a 4-track EP, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm in about 150 other bands like Will as well, so I'm also doing that as well. So yeah,
I'm a
That's
man of
right,
leisure.
isn't it?
The man of leisure.
So Will,
Where?
Will,
The man of
Sportswear.
he's here.
Will, how do you know the guys?
Well, I was actually a massive fan back then, and I saw them when they were promoting their first album, Draw Your Own Hole. I saw them at Ulu. Must have been like 87 or something.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and I got addicted. I every time they played London, I went to see them. I'd seen nothing like it. I've seen nothing like it since. And they were a big influence on everything I did afterwards during the 90s after that. But I didn't really know them then. I didn't know them personally. I suppose that might have been a good thing at the time, eh, guys?
Probably. We didn't know ourselves at the time.
Yeah.
Now that you're in the tour,
But,
it's a different story, isn't it?
yeah. So, getting a bit more up to date, it must be about 3 or 4 years ago, I kind of have met Mary a couple of times at gigs and stuff. I think I supported one of Mary's other bands with my solo thing a few years ago. And when I heard that Tony wasn't going to be doing it anymore, the original guitarist, I kind of offered my services. But they'd already got someone. They'd already got someone to replace Tony. This is about 5 years ago or so. That didn't work out. Yeah, that didn't pan out for one reason or another.
Did you sabotage it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Let's hear the
broke his
truth.
wah pedal.
Yeah.
I rusted up his wah pedal and it just didn't move. So it was just no good for the bikers.
I have to say it was a very it was very serendipitous because I was playing in London with Pop Will Eat Itself, and Will was supporting in Sieg Sieg Sputnik, and it was literally a couple of days before me and Robert were sitting where we are now saying, look, I think there's the only one person who can do the job, and it was Will. And literally a couple of days later, I was walking in the corridor and I was thinking, I need to phone up Will. And then I see him walking down the corridor and I'm like, oh. So we just said, oh, do you fancy doing it? And he said yes straight away. And it was just, it's been great.
I mean, that was one of the greatest moments of my professional career because I was sound checking with ZZ Sputnik, another of my favorite bands, and the singer of Gaye Bykers On Acid asked me to join Gaye Bykers On Acid while I was sound checking for ZZ Sputnik. I'm like,
pretty good.
This is just like, that's too nuts, you know. That was.
Did you play it cool or did you sort of?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, no, I had it. You know,
he's very cool. He always plays cool.
I'll play it. Yeah, I don't know if I try. One has to try.
Yeah, no, it was great, and he's been fantastic. I have to say, he's a lovely fellow, and fitted in really well. And we're like I say, we're writing new material with him. It's great. It's great.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Brilliant. All right. If we don't mind going back for a little bit, Mary and Robert, can you tell us about getting the band together and all of that?
Oh, it was a long time ago.
Well, that was the 1980s. You had to make your own entertainment because everything closed at 12 o'clock.
It's true. Closed at 5
Everyone
o'clock.
had a job, which is a great thing. Back then, it was very creative because everyone was unemployed. There's no hope, no future, which that's just the decade we lived in. But I think it spawned a lot of creativity. If you look at the 1980s, it was very diverse in its subcultures and fashion and music. I think it's like one of the best decades, really, when you look back on it, because everything past the from the dance era took over for 20 years plus. Everything has now become very beige and safe.
Yeah.
I think back then as well, you could kind of get away with being unemployed as well. You could still sort of carve out a life.
We were very much unemployed, and then our thing sort of coincided with the enterprise allowance scheme as well.
Oh, we've heard so much about it. Yeah. So many musicians. Yeah.
I mean, the bikers, obviously we'd started and we were touring quite intensely, and we got to a point where we were sort of up and running sort of business. I mean, we weren't thinking of it as a business at all, but it was like, what do we do when, oh shit, I need to sign on. And then it was like, this thing came up. I think it was Thatcher trying to massage the unemployment figures. And all of a sudden we got an extra £20 a week, I think.
Yeah.
And semi-legitimized. I mean, it was the only decent thing that Thatcher did, I think, possibly for us.
And you didn't have to be there to sign on, right? You could be out on tour, and you didn't.
Exactly. So all of a sudden it was, and it worked well. And then we got signed, and things. I mean, we worked
downhill.
Things went downhill after that. We got involved in the music business. That's what happened.
All that freedom we was just like whittled away.
But the thing about the bikers was
on the accelerator, and like it kind of like ran away from you.
Yeah,
you couldn't keep hold of control of what you were doing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you always seemed really DIY, even when you were signed to a major. It always seemed like you were doing everything. That was the great thing about the bikers. I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, you could see the whole stage set, everything. Yeah.
Well, kind of what happened is that we our first single did really well. Everything's Groovy. It was quite a big selling indie single. I think 1986 or whatever. And then it was like, oh, you've got to come up with another one. And like then we were sort of been listening to a bit of hip hop, and then we came up with Nosedive Karma, and that was really successful. And then all of a sudden you have the major record labels sniffing round it. What seemed like quite an instant sort of thing. We'd been sort of working at it for a good couple of years, I guess, at the point that Nosedive came out. And then it was like, I was organizing everything. We didn't have a manager. It was literally my enthusiasm. It was pre sort of social media, and we were phoning these venues up and getting these gigs. And then in the middle of that, Intake Records came along, Mark Riley and a guy called Jim Cambata put, the singles started doing really well. And obviously that makes it easier to get gigs. And then it got to the point where there was a bit of a bidding war for the bikers for a major label, which is our biggest mistake is signing to a major label. But you think that's going to, everything's going to be great after that. And we made the mistake of handing over everything to a manager who just wanted to rip us off completely and had was absolutely incompetent. So that's why I say once we got involved in the music business, everything went downhill. It wasn't so much fun anymore. I mean,
I don't know, man. We've had so many horror stories about indie labels as well, man. It seemed like everyone was fucking the bands over, whatever.
We got fucked over by Intake. I mean,
every record label does it.
The bikers. I mean, in sort of late 1986, 87, Everything's Groovy and Nosedive Karma. They were like, it was in the top 10 of the old school indie charts.
Yeah.
Literally for like a year, they were obviously, we were selling records, but we didn't see a penny from that, obviously. So yeah, and that was Mark Riley.
Say obvious. It shouldn't be obviously though, man. It's not obviously. I was gonna say, in your mansions.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, what were you doing in the 80s?
Well, I was sort of old enough to go to gigs, which was the main thing, so, and that was a really exciting time, the kind of sort of mid to late 80s for me, because I just like I said, I was into Sputnik, I was into Gaye Bykers. There was just all this kind of different stuff, and a lot of it, I guess, you're talking about the hip hop influence a lot, Mary, to Nosedive Karma. A lot of it kind of came from that. The PWEI itself were kind of influenced by that, and I think that had a big impression on me and kind of made me get into electronic music more, even though I was a guitarist even then. But but I didn't really sort of start playing in bands and getting my own crap major deals until like the mid 90s, because I'm a little bit younger than these guys. But not too much. But yeah, so I was just going to loads of gigs, getting all the influences, that you need to when you want to do it yourself, later on.
What kind of 90s bands were you in?
Well, the sort of first band that I was kind of seriously in was Rachel Stamp.
Oh wow.
Okay. We got signed sort of 96, I guess, to Warner's really quickly, because the majors were snapping up everyone at that point, and we did about 5 gigs and we got signed to Warner's, and we were like, yeah, just like Mary said, yeah, this is it. This is it. We made it. Then we got signed by the head of A&R, Clive Black, who had also just signed Babylon Zoo to EMI, and he'd moved them to Warner's, and he moved back to EMI, moved them to EMI, concentrated on them, and then we were just left with some guy that didn't really understand Rachel Stamp at all, because it was a bit of an acquired taste, Rachel Stamp, when we first came.
Yeah, I remember them.
Very glam in the middle of the whole grunge thing. We were just trying to do this kind of glam thing. I mean, there was we were pretty heavy as well. We supported Korn, and this is this was the sort of the dilemma we had. We supported Korn one week, got bottled, and then the next week we supported No Doubt, and everyone loved us. It was like,
wow,
okay,
wow.
So yeah, that it's kind of I think that's kind of a bit of a hangover from the 80s, was that kind of very varied genre thing that was happening in the 90s. And we were just we were obviously influenced by a lot of 80s bands, like Prince and the Bykers. We used to the weird thing is we actually used to say we met in a Gaye Bykers tribute band, which is another weird serendipitous thing.
Well, talking about all the influences then, so the hip hop, what kind of hip hop were you listening to? Was it like
oh, well, it's just all the really old
that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely into LL Cool J, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, all the Def Jam stuff really was the main thing that I was listening to.
Pretty much the same for us.
Yeah.
The difference between listening to it though and having the confidence to kind of like make it part of your music, which a lot of English people weren't doing back then.
Yeah, but I think that's what made it good, in the same way that when the Rolling Stones nicked the blues from the Americans, the UK bands all nicked the hip hop stuff and then made it into their own thing, which is great. I think.
Yeah,
our dalliance with hip hop didn't really last very long, to be honest.
No,
I think
no.
But it was. I mean, obviously, it was records like We Care a Lot and hearing the Chili Peppers and obviously the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
You just listen to the sonics or the dynamics of those records. They're just dance records. They're more dance music. So I think that's what appealed to us.
Well,
that's a good.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all funk and soul.
Soul and jazz. Cultural appropriation.
Early Faith No More is a good shout. I hadn't considered that, but yeah, I totally get that kind of early Faith No More sound. Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, amazing.
Great song.
Yeah. I mean, we have to ask about the band name and the stage names. Is there any rationale?
Well, the stage name goes back to the 80s, and it's the same as the 70s for the punk bands. You had a different name when you were signing on the dole and earning money from playing gigs, so they didn't catch on to you. But nowadays, social media, those are stupid enough to still be on social media and work on the side will get caught out. So
no, we just I mean,
sure.
we both have the same name. Back in Leicester, back in the day,
everyone's called Ian.
Everyone's called Ian, and so we
from City of Leicester called Ian. I'm Ian.
Hello, I'm Ian.
Ian, you see me?
So we got our names early on. We decided to have girls' names. Or it just got thrust upon us. My nickname stayed. I didn't actually want to be called Mary. I was like, please don't call me Mary. And obviously, when you say that, everyone starts calling you even more.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So then I lent into it. I thought, I'll be Mary Byker, because I was a bit leery, I'll
soon get bored of it and stop calling me it.
Yeah, and I was a bit back in the
40
day,
years on,
quite loud. Well, I'm not quite as leery as I used to be. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, it kind of worked for me as a differential. It's like people kind of remember, especially when very early on, when I was sort of touting the band around, like I was doing like the management and the PR and everything. You'd introduce yourself as Mary. People would go, they would take a double take and then say, I've got a band called Gaye Bykers On Acid. And then people would like, oh my God, so it kind of worked, got attention. Got the attention.
Yeah. Sure.
So it's good marketing, I guess.
Yeah. How about robber? Were you a thief?
Yes. I've done quite a lot of time, actually. I've only just got out of that sentence just recently.
So, robber was famous for stealing clothes off clotheslines.
not panties.
I was about to say, but yeah, sure. Make that clear. Yeah.
Absolutely clear. I do not steal knickers. It came from like being in Amsterdam when I was over there. It's just like one of those throwaway comments it just stuck. So again, with like Mary, it's like eventually they'll get bored of calling me that, but like 50 years later, they're still calling me it. So whatever. It worked for me because I got an altered identity away from like my other life.
That's it for me, to be honest.
It's quite nice, right?
Mary Byker became like, once I separated from that person as I got slightly older, from that sort of crazy, what attention seeking individual, because I'm far from that now. I don't particularly like attention. Whereas then I was actively courting it. So to have Mary although everybody calls me Mary, the only person who doesn't call me Mary is my mum. But I'm Ian Hoxley. That's my real name. I could be that. Nobody knows who I am.
They do now.
Yeah.
He's giving it away.
The millions of people watching this program.
Exactly.
No, but it's quite good. It sort of became something that's like,
useful for earning actual real money in like
in the real world.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what about the name itself?
The only people that call me Ian are like either like an employer or the police when they pull you over. So it's kind of useful.
There you go.
No, you're in trouble.
There you go. You can blend in with all the other Ians out there, though, right?
Exactly.
What about the name itself? Where did that come from?
Well, the first name we had was called Petrol Frenzy, I think.
Petrol. I wanted petrol.
Oh, Petrol Frenzy, Petrol Frenzy. The Plainsman. That was one of.
Plainsman.
That was more like a. That was more like
garage.
That was more sort of garagey, sort of
UK garage.
Yeah, as in like garage
rock. I'm imagining like a twangy kind of country thing with the Plainsman. Yeah.
And then we do. There was a cartoon by Ray Lowry in the LME where he, on the back of a biker's jacket, he put "Gaye Bykers on Acid," and then he received. He got threatened by the All England Hells Angels, and we just thought that was really funny that they felt that threatened by something. There must be some kind of
stupidly we thought it'd be a great name for a
Sure.
And to this day we are saddled with that name. But I mean, again, it's a blessing and a curse. It's like people remembered it straight away, and then it's like, oh god, a lot of people just not going to take it seriously straight off the bat. But we were just having a good time. We weren't really thinking about it. We were literally, like he was saying, we were creating our own entertainment and doing what we wanted to do, and that was the important thing.
Sure. Were you actually on acid?
Quite a lot of the time, yeah.
Yeah, it's fair.
I think we were one of those bands that were sort of, I mean, it was a funny part of the time in the world, because there was punk had gone, hippie had gone, and the punks would all of a sudden started dropping acid, and it became sort of
living on buses
and stuff.
New age trouble.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it was just one of those rites of passage to a lot of kids, like, the whole drug thing. You started with one thing, and as long as it started drinking, and then gateway drug. It was a gateway drug, and then you start smoking hash, and then speed. I mean, there was no cocaine in those days, and then
speed on it.
Thankfully, strictly speed, which is probably still the same price now as it was then.
Yeah,
that's about £12 a gram.
I was rather than 10, and then obviously a lot of drinking, and then acid and mushrooms. The
thing about acid was it was like £1 a tap.
Yeah, it was cheap,
right?
And it was quite effective. And then we kind of got a bit sort of evangelical about it, because you thought, there's something with acid. Once you take it, you kind of see things a little bit differently, don't you? It was
man. Break on through to the other side.
You're broken on through, and it was like
doorway to your soul.
Doors of perception.
Yeah, we need everybody to break on through, so that the world becomes a better place. Man.
Sure.
So,
yeah, that's what we should do. Bring it back.
Yeah. Will, were you into all of that back in the day?
No, I think I did acid once, had a bad trip, and that was it for me. So I kind of I tried stuff, and then just nothing stuck really. So I just kind of gave up everything after that, really. pretty,
Probably a good thing.
very exciting. But yeah, I just I use the music as my drug, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
When did people start calling you Grebo? How long did that take to come along?
That was James Brown.
Not the James Brown, but the James Brown.
The other guy.
Yeah.
That was James Brown, the journalist,
Yeah.
who he was a friend of ours, or was a friend of mine. I don't know if it helped. Friend of you were with him. He was sort of he was a good friend of John Langford, who produced Everything's Groovy and Nosedive Karma, who was in the Three Johns and the Mekons, a Leeds connection, and he sort of started championing the band early on. He saw, because there was an energy involved in what we were doing, that was, we would certainly sort of make alert, there was definitely a vibe going around the bikers. Whenever we turned up in town, all the freaks would come out of the woodwork, and
Finally,
Like Will. Bit like Will.
Yeah.
and Will, yeah. So I think, and then James sort of coined the term Grebo. I think the Poppies first had Grebo Love You. They had a song, Grebo I Love You, and then.
But wasn't that actually kind of written as a kind of joke about being called that, or did they actually come up with that before the press started?
It's a Grebo is a Midlands term for like a greaser.
Right. Okay. So well, it wasn't being used, and they did that song.
No, at that point it wasn't.
Okay.
But then everybody knew the word, and then James Brown thought, "Oh, I'll lump them together and call them Grebo."
bit like punk label.
Again, it's like a music journalists always they like to tag people and put people into groups, and
Just like before pub rock, and all punk was basically all the pub rock bands relabeled punk.
Yeah. Did you mind the Grebo thing?
We kind of did at the time, but what you can't really, again, it's like you don't choose what people say about you. They say what they say, or they lump you in. They choose to categorize you however they want to. So
now we get called Grebo throwbacks.
It's again something that we don't really think about anymore, and it's like it's kind of irrelevant now.
Sure.
If I was to worry about being called Grebo now, then I've got there's other things I've got to worry about in my life.
It's not top.
Will, were you a Grebo kid, or?
Well, not specifically. I mean, as I said before, it's kind of like there were so many different bands going on. Like I'd go and see Boys Wonder. I don't know if anyone's heard of Boys Wonder, but Boys Wonder one week they were kind of like mods, like really well dressed, very punk influenced as well. And then the next week I'd go and see the Bykers, who looked like they turned up in a caravan, So it was a massive. So I don't know where I fitted in really, but I just took bits of everything really. I think, and probably the way I dress, I probably just had the generic leather jacket. The whole thing. I mean, everyone was influenced by the Pistols and punk, as far as I could see. As far as looking back on it, that's really obvious now. It's kind of like all from that, and everyone took it different ways, and there were different kind of subcultures that came out of it, like Grebo, I guess, But maybe like one week I was a Grebo, the next week I was a mod, and next week I was a rocker. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll talk about it a lot on the podcast. You don't really get these subcultures much these days, right?
I was saying earlier, it's like all music is beige
and homogenized.
Yeah, it's everything's beige.
But the underground, because of the dispersion of like the media, the internet, and everything, because obviously back in the day there was only certain outlets for the media. That you had the music papers, bit of TV, late night radio,
John Peel,
and but the subculture sort of these tribes sort of created themselves. Whereas nowadays everything sort of seems really splintered. I'm sure they're out there. There's obviously emo kids, and there's obviously people who are into different stuff, but it just doesn't seem quite as important anymore.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Artificial intelligence music.
Well, it already is.
The next big thing. You won't even be able to tell that's not a real band soon.
Well, that's happening.
Oh yeah,
it's happening already.
Suno is the new.
Yeah, there's that rock band, isn't there? It's got like 400,000 like streams on Spotify or something, and they're like an AI generated rock band. I was reading them back.
Yeah, like there's an app called Suno, and
Is that what they're called? Okay.
Genre. Put a few lyrics in, and it creates it like in about 10 seconds, some songs, and then you go, "Oh, that bass line's quite good," and that bass line.
I'll try that now, yeah.
Yeah. Try. All right, can you talk a bit about their first album, Drill Your Own Hole, putting that together and getting the sound and all of that?
Well, the problem with it, that's a record that we're not particularly proud of in the sense of the sound of it, because we were so busy at that point. We decided to make a movie to go with it. I don't know if
you're like Beyonce with Lemonade, isn't it?
Yeah, we were full of energy and we had a lot of ideas, so we weren't short of ideas, and whether they were any good or not, it's another thing entirely. But we at the time we were sort of making a film and making the record, whereas really it should really all be all about the music, and we were too, we weren't really around. We weren't that happy with the production on it at all. It wasn't very it became like everything became programmed, and so it didn't really work out, and it's a shame really, because there's some good ideas on it.
It should have been like our fourth album.
Yeah,
right.
I think what happens with the next record that we put out, Stew to the Gills, which got a lot better reception, and it's much more coherent. If we'd have done the record with John Langford again, maybe because he understood the band, or so, he literally, it was playing the drums, and then they would take the sound and just started programming it. So it took away all the soul out of the. I mean, it made everything go in time, but it just didn't sound great. So
I do. Sorry, yeah. I was just going to say, I do remember at the time, I think I heard the record before I saw you live, and I didn't really get the band until I saw it live. I didn't get it, even though I love all the songs on that first album. They sat, we still play a lot of them now, don't we? It's just, they stand up. But yeah, I see what you mean by the recording. Yeah.
Yeah. The recording was a bit of a disappointment. And at that point we were kind of, again, a bit disenchanted with the whole sort of process anyway, the whole music business. And we were like, they were we were working so hard. I didn't think we had any time off, and it's not healthy, like young men being in the same situation, in that situation where you're going out, you're drinking, you're taking loads of drugs, and you're sort of, it's not great for your mental health. And I just think really we weren't really sort of thinking about what was really important. And what was really important ultimately at the end of the day is the music. The fame and all that stuff is all superfluous. I mean, if you write great music, then maybe you become famous, and you're rightly so. But sort of chasing being trying to be, I don't know what we thought we were doing at that particular point in time, but we definitely took the foot off the gas as far as concentrating on what was really important, like I say, is the music.
Interesting. As a vinyl nerd, I like the idea of making a record without a center hole. Whose idea was that?
I think that might have been my idea. I don't know.
Genius.
We just had this idea. It was just impossible to do, because obviously you can't press a record without it spinning round. So
apparently, well, what's the stupid?
So did you have to put the holes back in? How did it?
Yeah, no, they just literally put a
sticker over
like the
right. Right. So the hole was there. Yeah,
the hole was there, but you had to punch it open. They're worth quite a lot of money. Those are, again,
about tenner, isn't
it? At least. No, I think they're worth more.
This unpunched.
Yeah, the untouched ones are worth quite a lot.
I've got a new copy of that. If anyone wants to buy it, it'll be on eBay tonight.
There you go.
That's a cool idea, though, man. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Comes from the
we kind of had this idea that loads of kids would be hanging, getting out the dad's power drill and stuff.
And what, it's a marketing ploy, because they'll do it wrong the first time, then have to buy another copy.
And have to,
right,
they don't get the hole in the right place. Yeah.
Exactly. Good idea. Advanced capitalism.
Unlike unlike the Britpop band that followed afterwards, a lot of the Grebo bands did pretty well in America, right? How did you guys go down over there?
Funnily enough, we did okay. I mean, we went over to America and did we did like a very East Coast, West Coast
Introductory tour
where we played at the which is the Ritz then, which we sold out, which is now the Bowery Ballroom. I think it's about a 1,000 capacity venue. We did okay, you know. We did really well in Chicago. We did
LA
really well in LA. We played at the John Ansel Ford Theatre. And then, so the record label were on Caroline over there, which was a subsidiary of Virgin. We did okay, you know. We just didn't go with America. You just have to keep going back.
If you keep going round and
You
round.
have to keep going back and back. So we did okay, and then the press sort of stopped writing about us in the UK. But then funnily enough, we went and did a tour. We toured America again with like a Filofax, a U-Haul trailer, no mobile phones. Well, we did about 80 odd shows in the US, and it was mad because you turn up in these like really small towns and there'd be like 200 or 300 people, but then you turn up in New York and you're playing like 1,000 people. So we were doing okay. It was funny because at the time, like bands like the Happy Mondays and stuff like that, there was no interest at all in the US, and like the Bykers. So the British press had stopped writing about us and were kind of writing about how these bands couldn't make it in America. Yet we were sort of, had we have stayed had a bit of a more.
We had followed after that in the shoes of a Flock of Seagulls and Catch Goo Goo, would have been superstars in Africa.
There you go. Yeah.
You're talking about
you just needed that.
Well, you paved the way for Jesus Jones to get to number one, right?
Well, I mean, in some respects, it kind of did. It did kind of.
I think so. Yeah.
In a way, EMF and Jesus Jones for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yeah.
But there you go.
I saw something on your website about meeting Joey Ramone and all of that. How was that?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, we
and Jello Biafra in the same room.
We had Jello Biafra, Joey Ramone, and Thurston Moore in the same room.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Bow down, I'm not worthy.
That's indie rock royalty.
Well, they didn't. It wasn't. They didn't know each other. Jello Biafra didn't really know Joey Ramone. They didn't really know each other.
Yeah, they're both over their quirk.
Opposite sides of the country, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So the Ramones loved the Bykers, and they invited us out to do. We did a European tour with the Ramones as a sport band.
Oh wow,
that's cool.
I then went back to America and was sort of, got friendly. He had a lot of quirks. He was like, had ADHD. Like he had to count the amount of steps when he came out of the house.
Right.
He lost count. We'd have to go back. So I remember meeting him in this diner very close to his house. So I went out for a night with him. Once he got out, he was fine. And then we went to a place called the State where they were playing. There was a skateboard ramp at this venue, and they were playing hip hop and punk rock music. I mean, this was 1980, so it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, like I was just like, I wasn't really thinking, oh, I am hanging out. I thought it was kind of normal hanging out with Joey Ramone, and in the fullness of time, you think, my God, he's like that. He's such
that's cool,
such an icon. But he was a really lovely bloke. I mean, we actually had a bit more dealings with Dee Dee Ramone because Dee Dee actually came to live in the UK for a little while. He stayed at my house a couple of nights.
Wow.
He was actually a completely crazy individual. Like, yeah, Dee Dee Ramone was crazy, but like
Very talented.
He was, very talented guy. Very sort of, but like super hyper energy. Yeah, like really.
Sure. Yeah.
These were before all these terms that it seems that everybody's got AD something these days. Like he had all of those things there.
Yeah.
But yeah, really interesting guys and lovely people. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Will, how about you? Have you ever met any of your heroes in the course of your career? Apart from the boss, of course.
Apart from the Bykers.
Yeah, no, I've been pretty lucky. I mean, like the first band I ever saw was Adam and the Ants, and I ended up playing with Adam.
Me too. I tell this story 100 times, but me too. It's the first band I ever saw.
Oh, okay. Was that the Prince Charming?
It must have been. It was about 86, I guess, something like that.
Oh no, this was early. This was like 81
Oh,
or
I'll say
something.
that. It's much earlier. It's 83, maybe.
Okay, so that's
Okay.
quite a major one because he actually got into Rachel Stamp in the 90s, and he used to come and see us. That's when I first met him.
Oh, wow.
And him and Marco came up and did a couple of songs with us once in Camden. And then later on, I got to work with him. I'm still working with him now. So that's quite a major one. I've met a few, I mean, people, it seems to me like the bigger the people are, the nicer they seem to be. Like I met Steven Tyler a couple of times, and he was so nice, and you just can't believe it. He doesn't have to be. And just obviously, just a really nice guy. Yeah. Trying to think of who else really. Mary Biker, Rubber Biker, Kev Biker.
Yeah.
Met Noel
Yeah.
you haven't met Noel Gallagher by
I
chance?
have met Noel Gallagher actually. I've met Liam. I know Liam better because I
know both of them. I've met both of them. Yeah.
We've got this thing going on the podcast about whether Noel Gallagher's a complete wanker or not. And we got like a lecture.
Shall I tell you my Noel Gallagher story?
Go on.
So I was in the Bykers was finished, and I went to America to play in a band called Pigface, which is like an industrial band.
Yeah.
Martin Atkins from Public Image was the drummer, and it was lots of members of Ministry and Revolting Cocks and Skinny Puppy in the band. Anyway, we were rehearsing, and at the Chicago Metro, Oasis were playing. There was two shows. There was a band called Consolidated, a really good band, and MC 900 Foot Jesus. They were the early show, and then later on in the evening, Oasis were playing. So I was persuading all the guys. I said, look, you got to go and check this band out, Oasis. They're really, really blowing up over the UK. They're calling them like the Sex Pistols meets whatever, Beatles. And to an industrial person, that's probably not really what they did. That didn't hold them allure. A few people came along. And anyway, I'm sort of after the show. They were great actually. There was the wave of energy that came off the stage. The song was great. I mean, I've never been a massive fan, but hats off and respect.
The early shows.
Stuff was great. Anyway, so there's a bar at the famous bar at Cabaret Metro beneath it called the Smart Bar, and I'm at the bar, sitting at the bar, and I kind of look next to me and sits down. Noel Gallagher came and sat next to me. He's like, "All right," and I'm like, "Yeah, all right." He went, "Mary Biker," and I went, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, Noel, nice to meet you." And he said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Oh, I'm playing in a band called Pigface. I'm not playing in the Bikers anymore." Because he knew I was in the Gaye Bykers On Acid. And then he's going, "No reason your band never did anything. You had shit songs, mate. You got to write songs." And I sat there, went, yeah. So seriously, and then I'm sort of sitting there for another sort of 5 minutes. I'm taking this from him and sort of saying, "Well, thanks very much." Yeah.
Just getting slagged off.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's one for the wanker side of the ledger. Will, what would
that's
you
a thumbs down.
Do you have any counteract to that?
Well, I've only really met Liam properly, so and that was because I was.
We think we reckon he's the nice one.
It was really nice. He was nice to me, and I was actually playing with at the time his girlfriend's band, Nicole Appleton. I was playing with their band, so he'd turn up at the rehearsals and stuff, and we'd be just checking out the band. And he was always really nice. I remember going to the pub with him once, like with a few of us, and all he would do with me was talk about Elvis for some reason. I think because of my hair, because I had sort of slick back hair then. So, fucking Elvis this, Elvis that. And I'm like, yeah, Elvis, yeah, great. Kind of going along with it, but really nice. But I do remember one time I was at a festival doing that band, and he was there, and I was walking towards the stage with him. Really, really nice. He was like, "How's it going? How's things and all that?" Really cool. We get to the security guard. It was a lady security guard, and like as soon as he saw the security guard, it was like Jekyll and Hyde. He got his his laminate out. He's like shoving it in her face.
Went into the Liam.
Fucking let me in, like and all this. And I'm like, okay, so I mean, from that, I kind of assumed that there's a lot of extra bravado going on, and it was just really obvious. You kind of know that already, but when you actually see it like that, it was like, wow, So, but yeah, no, I thought it was a really sweet guy. Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. You've mentioned the record company trouble already, right? And you broke up in 1990. Like Grebo kind of was just kicking, went like supersonic, right? Like headlining Glastonbury a couple of years later, the Wonderstuff, like storming the charts. Do you think if you'd have stayed together then, it would have been different?
I think I would have been dead of drugs or something like that, to be honest.
Ed, right. So wouldn't have been good for you.
No, that wouldn't have been good. I don't know. I mean, things happen the way they happen. It's like, is it? You never know, really. Maybe, depends how we'd have, because we were quite contrary. If it was like, oh, they're all doing that, then we'd generally do something completely different just to not be like everybody else.
Right.
So at that point in time, it just seemed like every band that started in that
Mary, quite contrary.
Oh, nicely done.
Everybody wanted, like we'd be in the rehearsal room and like, who does everyone want to sound like this week? It would be like Oasis and whatever. So I don't really know. It's difficult to say.
When you kind of saw it all happen, and we were like, "Oh, fucking hell!" When you saw like they were kicking off,
because I can remember being taken by because I was good friends with Andy Ross at Food Records, and I remember going to see Jesus Jones at the Bull and Gate. I got invited.
I was at that gig.
Were you?
I was there. Yeah, I remember seeing it like really early on. It's like their first sort of headline lunch, isn't it?
Because basically, the bikers at the first tour of America I was talking about, we got introduced to the people at Vision Streetwear, and we met all the skateboarders. And if the skateboarders liked us, we could go into the skateboard factory and take up all these clothes and stickers and boards.
Yeah.
And they loved us. We played at Huntington. We went. There's all these pro skaters. Like it was.
We rinsed that warehouse.
We rinsed the warehouse. It was Mark Gonzalez, Todd Swank, all these like.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Sort of, in fact, somewhere there's a picture of Mark Gonzalez doing an ollie over the Gaye bike. We're all on the floor and he's like jumping over it.
Oh wow,
that's cool.
But yeah, the skaters loved us, and basically we went into the Vision warehouse. We had these huge. They gave us these huge sort of duffel bags, and we just stuffed them full of clothes, skateboard, those Vision hats. So we were wearing all that clothes, and I think that's probably why. That one of the reasons that Andy Ross goes, oh, you'd like this band because they were all wearing all this skateboard.
Right? Yeah. They are big.
I remember seeing it's like, oh, they've been in the Vision warehouse as well. But so there was a certain stylistic sort of thing, and I guess we were writing sort of pop rock riffs with samples and stuff. I mean, good luck to them. They had songs, didn't they? You don't get that successful unless you write something that people remember and it relates to them. So good luck to anybody that can do that. So yeah, they did all right.
Yeah.
I wonder if Noel liked their songs or not.
Well, you can't really. Has Noel ever had a number one in America? Probably not.
There you go.
No.
EMF had a number one in America, and so did Jesus Jones, I think. So
they did, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Fuck
you, Noel.
Yeah, fuck Noel.
Yeah. One hit wonders.
Yeah.
What's he now?
We're in the one hit wonder gang.
And well, like you said, you're in a million bands, so you're wanting to do loads of interesting stuff. Basically, can you tell us about some of the post-biker stuff that all of you are involved in? Or pre-biker for you, if there's anything extra.
Well, shall I go or?
Okay, go on, Mary. You go.
Get me over and done with. So I went to America and went and played with this band Pigface, which is great because that was when industrial music was really going off, and it was a bit of a sort of baptism of fire. Sort of just got dropped into this group of people that sort of knew each other quite well. There's Chris Connolly, who was in Revolting Cocks, guitarist William Tucker, who played in Ministry. Ogre was the singer of Skinny Puppy, and Martin Atkins and Paul Raven, actually the bass player of Killing Joke, and we had two bass players and a guy Andrew Weiss who played in Henry Rollins' band.
Wow!
And these guys were like, it was pretty crazy. So I did that and sort of that was mad, sort of for 2 or 3 years. Came back, and then I joined, and then I had a band called Hyperhead, which was kind of critically pretty well received, but didn't really do much sales wise. And then I finished that, and then I got invited to join Apollo 440.
Wow.
So then I first thing I did was sang with them was a thing called Ain't Talking About Dub, was like a drummer. By that point I was.
Oh, did you sing on that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that track. I bought that when that came out. Remember?
Yeah, so it's the first thing I just went into the studio with them, and that's the first thing that came into my head, and I started singing. And I said I'll come back tomorrow, write a couple of verses. Said no, that's it. It's dance music.
Done.
We only need like one little thing.
Sure.
And that became successful. And I did that for a couple of years, and that I sort of lived the record company lifestyle for a couple of years, and then I co-wrote Stop the Rock.
Wow.
And then I finished and did bands, and then I got asked to do, and I had a band called Maximum Roach, which was like a drum and bass rockabilly band. Again, was nearly got signed by Reznor's label, nothing, but then they got taken over by another label, and the deal got shelved. And then I joined PWEI. I took over Clint Mansell's role as the rapper number 2, and I've been doing that for like 15 years again. And then I had a band called Am I Dead Yet, which was with Nocco from Apollo 414. And then all of a sudden I'm in all of those bands at the same time.
And the Bikers are back. Yeah,
the Bikers
amazing.
Are back. I play with Apollo every now and again. I play with Pigface every now and again. Pop Will Eat Yourself I'm still doing. And then that was it.
Amazing.
Still keep you busy.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Basically after the Bikers, I just fell into like the rave scene, became a DJ, did lots of drugs, lived in a caravan, and started breeding. That was
Happy days.
Happy days.
All right.
In that order.
Prison, obviously.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
The old rave scene. I'm a bit jealous of people that were there. I missed out on all that.
All the cardboard boxing, missed out on that, mate.
Yeah. Your brain cells are probably not probably thanking you for that. But...
Well, to be fair, I went to made like free parties and free festival scenes.
Yeah.
Nights and stuff like that, and it was just like it's very free before the corporates took over the festival scene, and everybody in the next door neighbour has got a bit of land now puts on the sausage and cider rave festival, don't they? So
yeah.
Free back then. It was like it was an amazing time. It's like the 60s,
the glory days.
Yeah. Is that like when like the criminal justice bill came in and all of that kind of nonsense is going on?
Some Morton, it all went downhill from there because it was a small party that just kind of like got too big in a village on the hillside.
Yeah.
Well, the police, and then obviously the police and the government go, "Oh, we can't have
fun.
You're not allowed
Can't
to
have
fun.
people having fun on the field."
Yeah.
But now being on you're raving, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently so. And then Will?
Yeah, Will, how about you after Rachel Stamp?
Well, after Rachel, I did Rachel Stamp for about 10 years initially. And, but yeah, just basically trying to join all the bands that I loved when I was growing up. And I've kind of done it quite a few. I played with Flesh for Lulu for a bit right at the end before Nick Marsh died. I played with actually, this isn't one of the bands that I was into initially, but I played with the Selector for about 5 years.
Oh, wow.
That was a bit different for me because that's like that was a bit different because I'd never played ska before, so
I love bits.
That was cool. I did an album with another really sort of heroine of mine called Jonette Napolitano, who was in a band called Concrete Blonde, who were kind of bigger in the States. It's sort of late 80s, early 90s. I did a solo album with her, and I've been doing my solo stuff, which I go under the name Scant Regard. I've been doing that. It's kind of like one-man band type thing. I play live with that a lot. I've been doing that for the last 10 years. I've got a band called She Made Me Do It with my partner. And we're doing Rachel Stamp again. And yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's it's a lot of juggling going on. A lot of juggling, more juggling than a clown in a circus.
Sure. So how do Gaye Bykers operate now as a band? What's the setup basically?
Do you work for the tax services?
I mean,
I work for expenses.
Cash in hand. Cash in hand.
Cash in hand.
Expenses only. No. How do we operate? Well, it's funny because we're in sort of this transition phase where with the original drummer he's retired and he intends to spend a lot of his time traveling. So we sort of had to say, look, Kev was like, we'd like to be doing more gigs.
Yeah.
And, do you mind if we get a sub in for you? We got a sub in for him anyway. But Kev we're playing in the 229 club, and we're doing a festival called On Board the Craft, which is near Solihull, Bromsgrove, somewhere in the beginning of September. And the 229 will be the final show with Kev.
5th of September, that is, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the 5th of September. So we're doing that, and then in the new year, like I say, so with the new lineup, we're already writing together because Joe's a songwriter as well, the drummer, and so we're involved in that with him, and so we've currently got three or four new songs.
How are they sound? What are they sounding like? Well, what period Gaye Bykers are they more?
Well, it's kind of the good thing is that we've dipped into all sorts of different things. It's like we've always liked our sort of R&B type dance music and sort of the 60s sort of a lot of those 60s garage music is just it's like dance music, R&B. So not saying it sounds like that, but we've always had like disco element, like Everything's Groovy is basically a Duran Duran disco bass line.
Chic, really, isn't it?
So we've got a new song called Black Metal Disco, so you can imagine what that might sound like.
Nice.
We've got a song called
to go to a black metal disco.
Well, there you go.
Isn't it?
Now's your chance.
Yeah.
Well,
Put on the record.
Genre.
so we've got that song. We've got a song called Can I Get a Hallelujah, which is like a spiritual sort of
More popular than Jesus.
More
in some countries.
we're working on a song called Nothing More Heavy, which is like a drum and bass song.
So it's more like all the influences since that you've been working on. I think post Gaye Bykers, it sounds like to me.
Because obviously you move on and you can't really. That's the thing musically. I think when I left the Bykers and I got into Pigface, it was a different thing for me musically, and that just thought, hold on, there's more to it than just trying to rehash the same thing. And Will was into different music. I was very similar. I like funk and soul as Robert does as much as I like punk and rock and heavy stuff. I lived in Brazil for 10 years, so I like a lot of Brazilian music. I like a lot of so it's I think if you're a musician and if you question things and you like to sort of bring other influences in, it's always good to keep an open mind. And so I think that's what we're doing now and also you could do stuff with a lot more confidence nowadays. You can go because all these things have been done, haven't they? All these sort of permutations where you add one thing with another thing and one thing to make something new. That's constantly being done all the time now. So when you sort of get into this stuff, it's like you kind of rather than it being experimental, go, where's this going to go? It's like, oh, I know what this can and should sound like now. And as you get older, I think you get more confident as well. I think our songwriting's getting better as well, to be really honest with you.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's great. Yeah. All right. Brilliant. Well, we kept you a really long time. We apologise. One final question, if that's all right, for each of you. Neil, do you want to?
Yeah. So we asked all our guests to come on. If you could have been in any other band in the 90s, who would it have been and why?
Oh, if it could have been any other band
In the 90s.
in the
90s.
Oh,
So listening to bands in the 90s. So I'm just going to pick one at random.
God.
It's fine. It's
I'd
fine.
have been in Blur. They were quite cool.
Yeah, but they
Blur.
started in the
Yeah, fair enough. That's all right.
It's a good answer.
Yeah, Blur's a good
yeah,
answer.
they're a good band.
I'd still be earning money now if I was in Blur.
True.
God. Okay, in that case, did the Gorillas start in the 90s?
Yeah.
I would like to have been in a good.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
band.
they're cool, right?
They did that. That's a band I'd like to do some work with. And have been
Good
in.
concept,
That was-
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
concept. Like, different kinds of music, different sort of stuff. Yeah, there you go. Gorillas.
Yeah, that's a good answer too. Will?
All right.
I was going to say Depeche Mode, but in the 90s they were kind of
no,
like
Oh, they had some good stuff in the 90s too.
Yeah, that's good. No,
Well, they didn't. I'm not talking
acceptable.
about the music. I'm talking about the people. You know, they were kind of like just completely wasted, weren't they, for the whole of the 90s?
He nearly died
He
in the.
died, didn't he?
Well, yeah, that's it. So I don't know if that would be
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, I
that
saw
would be
him
good,
a couple of times. I saw him a couple of times. I lived up in Cricklewood for a while, and used to see
Yeah.
Dave Gahan's
Rehab.
staggering around. Kill.
Yeah, he went through a rough bit, didn't
Yeah. Oh, he would look really rough. He was really rough.
he? Yeah.
But
He's all right now.
if you've got millions of pounds behind you, I guess that's
Yeah.
Oh, they are multi-millionaires. Fulham's got a big house down here, haven't they?
Yeah.
Which is for sale, 4.5 million. If you want to buy.
In Brighton.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just outside Brighton, Hazzocks, that area.
Mm.
Yeah. I think one of them's selling a house down here at the moment.
For tax.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, Will, you're a big Depeche Mode fan, are you? Back in the day.
But not
Yeah,
Depeche Mode.
that's one of the bands that I've just been into right from the start and just all the way. And I just
Same.
love the way they developed into something a lot darker and more,
Yeah.
you know, and I love the electronic side of it as well, because I loved all that at the time. You know, I love bands like Cabaret Voltaire and stuff like that. So, but yeah, 90s, I don't know. I hated all the bands in the 90s, to be honest, apart from the band I was in, really. So it's really hard to think. I used to
all
like
the
that.
bands in the 90s.
I know that can't be true. That can't be true. I mean, I guess no. I think the Bykers were the best band, even though they started in the 80s. I think I really do think they were, and that the way they ended up, kind of with all those dance influences, was just brilliant. You know, and they were still great live
Yeah.
when I saw them in the early 90s. So yeah, I'll
That's a
say the
nice
Bykers.
answer.
All right.
Because I really can't think of anyone else. I can't think of anyone else.
Because you hated every other band in the 90s. That's
Yeah, I
fair
think
enough.
so. Because you know, like when you're doing it, it's like everyone's, I don't know, everyone's just kind of like
That's
the
right.
antithesis of
Fair
what you
enough.
want to do, and
No,
I
we
hated
get
Britpop,
quite a lot
you
of
know.
people that say that. We get
I
quite a lot of
hate
people
Britpop,
that say
Spice Girls.
Didn't really
bands.
oh, there's a band called Sponge that I love though.
Yeah.
There's a band called Sponge from Detroit that I really love, and they came out the night. I'll say that I'd like
There
to
you
be in
go.
Sponge. They were very cool.
Sponge.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really enjoyed that. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Nice to meet you
you.
guys.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, you too. There we go. Gaye Bykers On Acid. That's a fun one, wasn't it? We haven't done a fun one for a while, have we? Not saying our other guests aren't fun, but when there's a group of people, it's a different dynamic, isn't it?
Did you enjoy it, Mike?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just what you're saying there, the thing that I took away from it was pretty much how they were finishing each other's sentences.
Yeah.
You know, it was like they obviously know each other so well, and they've been around with each other for so long that they kind of just knew what they were thinking.
Yeah, they're just having fun with it.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah. Brighton boys as well, aren't they? Well, they are now. That's always good, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Based in Brighton.
Seems to be where everyone goes to
Well,
retire, doesn't it?
I mean, Mike, you should come down here. It's all right down this way.
I do come down a bit, actually. Yeah.
So you'll be there at the Albert, right?
I won't, unfortunately. No, going away on holiday that day. So I was
Fair
planning
Will you
to
be
go
at any
down,
of the other
so-
Brighton gigs? No. That's the only one.
That's the only one in Brighton. Yeah,
Okay.
I may well go and see. I don't think Megafish 4 are playing, but they're playing in Manchester, and that's local to me. So I'll probably go and see Midway Still and the Charlemagne's there.
Cool. Yeah, I look forward to the Charlemagne's. Been meaning to catch them for a while, so that's cool.
Man, if you
Kill two
if they have
birds.
their record on sale, can you pick me up a copy, Neil?
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Get Ben to sign it as well.
Yeah.
Maybe
Also,
I'll
if they
just
have the
sign
new
it.
Senseless Things record, can you pick me up a copy of that?
Have you got it, Mike? Yeah, it looks nice. It looks like a nice bit of vinyl, that. So, yeah. All right. They've aged well, haven't they? Was my first thought.
Yeah, they look good.
Well, they
right?
look
They
good.
look comfortable. They look good. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone who wears pink sunglasses has always got a thumbs up from me, as far as
Right.
I'm concerned.
Quick, kind of Captain Sensible style, right?
Yeah, like it. Old Will, tried to involve him as much as we could, because obviously he wasn't there in the early days. So I hope he didn't feel left out at any point. But I think we did all right. It's a bit like Richard Oakes, isn't he? When Richard Oakes joined Suede, just like joining all the
Right.
bands that he used to love. That's great.
Man, that guy has been in
I know.
so many bands and played with so many people, right?
Yeah, he must just be an incredible player. if all these bands want him, sort of thing.
Do you remember Rachel Stamp?
Yeah, I remember the name. I don't really remember much of
They
this
were good. They were
stuff.
kind of a hard rock kind of thing, like female singer, kind of hard rocky kind of sound. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. But supporting
Well, after-
Korn and No Doubt, that's huge.
It is huge, and it's a bit incongruent as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you speaking of
Yeah.
incongruence, listen to this. He didn't mention it, but I dug a little bit deeper into his past, as well as that.
Yeah.
As well as playing with the Selector, which he did mention. He also played
Yeah.
with Tom Jones and Celine Dion, according to Wikipedia.
And he said, so I'm guessing when he was talking about Nicola Appleton,
Yeah.
he must have played with
That
All
was-
Saints, right?
No, I think it was the Appletons. They were.
Okay.
They
But
were.
still.
They're there.
It was
Yeah.
still yeah. So he just must be one of these incredible musicians that
Yeah.
I get jealous
yeah.
of.
A bit like Morgan from the Senseless Things, right? Just playing in all
Yeah,
these
yeah.
huge, like incredible bands and just being like that good that everyone wants you to, come and join or play or whatever.
Yeah, and just like a reliable sort of player. People just get him. He'll
Yeah.
do the job. Yeah, great. But I just think it's funny that all these bands that he used to sort of go and watch, he's sort of managed to get into, which is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bit like us doing this podcast, isn't it? All these bands
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
used to
we-
listen to, we get to have a chat to.
Yeah,
It's mad.
true. Got to
Yeah.
find a way, haven't you? Enterprise allowance scheme got another mention, didn't it?
It did
Old
indeed.
fat
Every
chap.
time I hear that mentioned, I'm thinking Starship Enterprise Alone, which I think was lying on
Pretty
Sheriff
better, wasn't it?
Fatman, wasn't it?
Yes.
Right,
right.
Yeah.
That's
But
good.
yeah,
But it does keep
come
coming up,
a
doesn't it?
lot, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
important it
I
was.
remember because people used to call it the rock and roll doll, didn't they? That's what they called it. And yeah, it was important. I don't know. It's just
It's
weird
also
that it was
interesting.
something like-
Sorry, Neil. I was just
Go
going to say it's interesting what they were saying in terms of the 80s being quite depressing, but really good for creativity. And I guess that's part of
Yeah.
it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's a bit like,
yeah.
like we were talking with Tiny from Ultrasound, and it was morally acceptable to be unemployed if you were doing something creative back then, right? Now it's you're a bad person if you're not creating surplus value for the capitalist machine. But back then it was more acceptable. It's interesting.
And it's more affordable. You could live like that and live that life, an actual life without having to work for the man.
Yeah. Oh, Ian's. What do you reckon about Ian's?
That what?
Ian's
Ian's from Leicester.
from Leicester.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know any
don't
Ian's
know.
from Leicester. I know
If
one
it-
Ian from Leicester.
There you go.
Go on.
I'm just trying to
Well,
think if I
they're
know any
there,
else.
so
I know a few
they're-
other people from Leicester. So
Well, we had Ian
So how many
Baker from
people do you
Jesus
know
Jones on,
Leicester?
right?
Yeah, we've had Ian from Jesus Jones.
And there's Ian Dench from EMF. Ians are everywhere in that scene. They're right.
He's right. Like, if anyone listening to the podcast, if you're from Leicester, let us know if your name's Ian.
Or if
you know
you're a
any.
Grebo called Ian.
Yeah, well, maybe it is a thing. But certain names were popular back then. Ian, I guess Ian was one of them. My cousin's called Ian, so
Yeah, me too.
popular name back then. Not many Neils
Ian Beale.
around, Ian
Neil.
Beale.
Neil's a common name, isn't it?
Nah. How many do you know?
Neil Young.
Oh, I watched him at Glastonbury. Do you want my honest opinion
Yeah.
on it?
Everyone said it was boring.
Well, that's what I thought. But I kind of
There you
thought it
go.
would be. It's just a guy playing sort of slow country music a lot of the time, innit? And I liked his rocking in the free world and all that sort of stuff, but the other stuff was just I don't mind
Did he
listening
do
to it, but
A Needle in the Damage Done? Did he do that?
yeah, did all of that stuff.
Oh, that's a good one, isn't it?
It was good, but I don't know if I want to stand in a field for 2 hours watching it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? But that's because I'm old, I guess.
Are you a Neil Young fan?
there was a period of time, Tonight's the Night and around then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Neil Young.
Yeah, I love it when he sort of rocks out. When he rocks out on he's actually a really
Man,
good
Russ Never
guitarist.
Sleeps for me. Ah, that's brilliant. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if because everyone was moaning, all the old farts were saying, I can't believe the Pyramid stage is only, because it was like half full for Neil Young, and everyone went to watch Charlie XCX. And it's not surprising, is it, really? Like, she's a big one of the biggest pop stars in the world, so if you're a youngster, that's where you're going to go, isn't it?
Because that's what we were saying before, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
But
pretty young.
the target audience is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they do it really well at Glastonbury. I think they do organise it. I think most of the time they get it right. I don't think having Neil Young, but then I don't know where else you'd put him really. I like the way a lot of the 90s band played on the sort of Friday, I guess, and they were sort of in the afternoon. That's perfect sort of slot, isn't it?
I like Ash were there, weren't they?
Yeah, they played like one of the smaller stages, Ash, I think, and
Supergrass.
I think they did properly. Yeah,
Yeah.
Supergrass were there. Yeah.
I saw a bit of their set. I thought that was quite good. Was never a big fan of
Yeah.
Supergrass, but I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Even
yeah.
the first album? So good. No.
But I mean, saying 90s, 2000s have become like that now. They're getting towards the legacy stage now, aren't they? They had like Franz Ferdinand playing and bands like that, and Hardfire and all those sort of bands. But yeah, they've got their place, and it's not headlining the main stage anymore. And that's fair enough.
That's fair.
There's the inevitable discussion of the evidence for the Gallagher assessment files, isn't there? There's some good evidence presented there that can certainly be tucked away for future reference.
We could definitely use that in defence of Noel being a twat, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, but what a wanker. Imagine saying that to someone. Your songs are shit. But who the fuck does he think he is?
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad.
Yeah. And more evidence of Liam being a top bloke.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in no doubt that Liam's a nice guy now. I've always thought that anyway, man.
But it's interesting when he said he kind of switched on the persona.
That was
when he needed to. Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think he does switch his on and off, whereas I think Noel's just constantly a bit of a knob.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
So I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
I think
Liam's
is just like a stage persona that he's crafted.
Yeah. But he's a sweetheart in real life. Yeah, I think that's probably right.
The other thing, the bit that I was interested in the interview was when they were talking about the US and how they seem to have some success in the US and less in the UK. And you sort of think about, well, you talk about it in the interview, don't you, with Jesus Jones, EMF, who were successful over there, still are. They've still got quite a big following in the US, haven't they?
Well, yeah.
Bands like
just a tour out there, I think.
It's like Swerve Drive as well, who were sort of like had some success in the UK, but seem to have a lot more success in the US. And then you have, I think they reference bands like the Happy Mondays, who were like massive in the UK and just no interest at all in the US. So it's quite interesting. Listening to some of the Gaye Bykers stuff, it did remind me of some of the music that was around in America at the time, Dead Kennedys and stuff like that. Maybe the Jesus Lizard and those sorts of things.
Maybe it was a more punky, that we didn't have, like the English bands didn't have that kind of punky element to it, maybe?
Possibly
like the Mondays and Oasis and
stuff. Yeah. And then when you move into Britpop, that seems quite parochial, doesn't it? That's very sort of UK focused.
By design, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The skater element, maybe a lot of that played into the American sort of psyche.
That's interesting. Yeah, it could have done.
Jesus Jones, the same, aren't they? They were very sort of skater.
Well, Teenage Fan Club always did really well in America, right?
Yeah. And
I mean, they sound American. They don't sound like they're from Scotland, do they? They sound like they're from California or something, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, well, very influenced by Big Star, aren't they? And Beach Boys and that sort of
thing. I just think Britpop was just it's just unrelatable for most Americans, isn't it? It's just because it is just so caught by me, how's your trousers sort of thing, isn't it?
What is it?
I'm not doing it again. I'll probably cut that well out.
No, you don't edit out your embarrassing moments. That was good, man. That was good.
But going back to stage personas, we were talking about Liam.
Yes.
They brought it up about having a stage persona. It means you can dip in and out, can't it? It means you can go on and be whoever you are under a different name, and then you can fuck off afterwards and become Ian again.
So my question is, what would your stage name be?
Mine?
Yeah, both of you.
Well, you've all got to have the same surname, haven't you? That's the point.
Not necessarily. I mean, it's like the Ramones thing, right? You can. Or the Wild Hearts, we had CJ on, right? You can, you don't have to.
Difficult
like one of my favourite ever bands
thought about it,
I always talk about is Crime. And Crime had the best stage names. Frankie Fix, Hank Rank, Johnny Strike, Ripper Ron. Great stage there. Johnny Strike's my favourite. That's so
What would
good.
yours be then?
Johnny Strike.
You can't have that. Someone else has got it.
Okay, I don't know. Johnny something. Johnny's always like the cool biker outsider, cool guy name.
Right, yeah.
So that'd be Johnny something. Yeah, Johnny
Johnny
and some
Twat.
some like violent imagery to be like badass.
Johnny Thunder.
Johnny Bike Chain. Johnny Thunders is a
Bike
band. Bike Chain. That's mine. Johnny Bike Chain. Beat that.
Right. Well, I'll be Billy Bike Chain.
Billy Bike Chain, Mike.
Well,
Sorry,
I
Mike,
guess
to
it'll be
drag you into
Joey
this.
Bike Chain then.
Joey Bike
Joey
Chain,
Bike
sure.
Chain.
Yeah, of course. But that
I
was
do like
interesting
that
as well
one.
in the
Yeah, go on.
interview when they were talking about who was it in a room with Jello Biafra, who was it,
Yeah.
Thurston Moore and
Joey Ramone.
who else was it? And Joey
And
Ramone,
Thurston
yeah.
Moore.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
I
mental.
thought that was
right?
fun. I went rifling through the Sonic Life book. I don't know if you've read it, but
Is
it's
that Thurston Moore?
yeah, and it's pretty much there are so many bands in there that are name checked. I was like, there's got to be an index, but there's not. I couldn't face sort of going through the 500 odd pages to try and find a reference to Gaye Bykers on Acid.
Right.
But there could be one in there. I've not finished it yet, so yeah, I'm sure I'll find.
Probably will be one in there. Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
they hung out of them quite a lot. Well, they went on tour with the Ramones, didn't they? That's
Yeah,
mental,
it's
isn't it?
amazing. Yeah.
That's a big one.
What
Not
for the
many people
CV?
can
isn't it?
say that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, DD stayed around his house. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you know, that shit just doesn't happen, does it?
No.
We've touched on it, but the whole doing acid on stage thing, right? I don't even know how that works. How could you just wouldn't know what was going on, would you? A lot of bands do it, don't they?
Do they?
Did,
I don't think they
did
do.
they?
They might have done back in the day.
It's
Yeah.
a risky
I'm sure they
drug
did back in the
to
day.
take on stage, I think. Could go either
Well,
way.
it does. It fucks with your perception of time, right?
Yeah,
So
it fucks with everything.
So you don't know you've been playing the same riff for 10 minutes or 10 seconds, right?
It's a dangerous. I think you're taking a bit of a risk if you're doing that on stage, I think.
But I was pleased to see that they did live up to their name. And when I
Yeah.
said, "Were you on acid?"
yeah.
They said, "Yeah, we were." So that was good to know.
At least they practice.
I
what
don't think they
preach.
were gay. They were gay bikers, though. I don't think they were.
No,
Well, I didn't ask
never
that.
established it, but I don't think they did. They are. I just think there's safer things that you can take if you're going on stage than that.
Sure.
The other thing that I picked up on, which is quite depressing, was the conversation around artificial intelligence in music and the impact that that's having, which is quite depressing, really.
Do you think it'll
depressing for the
ever?
people who created the music. I don't think it bothers the people that consume it, the listeners. They like it, and they're not bothered where it comes from. But
Do you think
Do you
so?
think it can really emulate like a really good songwriter? Can't, can it?
Well, it could emulate it, but it can't create
Yeah.
it.
AI is scarily good though. It's getting worse. It's constantly improving, isn't it? But it is getting some of the. Because did you see that little spoof video I put out from Glastonbury of the interviews on the Facebook page? It's just AI, but they've AI'd them talking to people at Glastonbury. But it looks quite.
Yeah, I
horrific.
did see that. Yeah, I did. I didn't. I
Yeah,
did.
you can see it's not real, but it's nearly there, isn't it? It's nearly sort of, it is getting very good.
Yeah. I just looked it up. So I was looking it up. There's this band called Velvet Sundown. That's who I was thinking of. I said it in the interview. There's a band called Velvet Sundown who are like an AI generated psych rock band. Doing well on Spotify.
Any good?
Basically. I haven't listened. I'll put it on the playlist. I'll put it on the playlist.
So, Mike, what's your concern that it's just gonna
well,
sort of
it's for the creators.
yeah?
It's diverting people who could be fans away to listen to stuff that's just AI generated.
Yeah. It's a bit scary.
Remove or it creates another
all
reason
this,
why
isn't
people
it?
just wouldn't go into it and create music, which is a sad thing.
Yeah. AI shouldn't be
I
doing
know
the
where that's
creative
gonna
shit,
go.
man. AI should be doing the boring stuff. Have you seen that AI podcast generator? So you can basically
what?
feed it like a book or whatever, and they generate a podcast of people talking about that book. And it sounds real. AI couldn't come up with your hilarious jokes, Neil.
Yeah, that's true.
Or
I don't
Mudhoney
know,
accents.
man. I don't know what the future's. 100 years, it'd be good to see what the world's like 100 years Well, we won't, obviously, but it'd be
Well,
interesting.
it won't even, doesn't need to be that long. Things are happening so quickly, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
ChatGPT only came out like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, now you're
And-
talking to it like it's your best mate.
And I use it as like a research assistant. I was talking about it in my class today, actually. Every single student in the class uses it. Every single one. And as if it was like normal. And I was like, 2 years ago, this didn't exist. And they're like, I don't know, but it exists,
Yeah, I mean, I use, for the podcast, I use a bit of AI just to like touch things up and stuff and
Sure.
make the little clips.
Well, we all
and
use it
stuff.
every day, right? If you've got predictive text is AI, right? Everything is
Yeah,
AI.
that's like an early form of it, yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Hey.
I don't know.
Okay.
Can't stop these things, though. That's the problem, isn't it? Just got to
No.
just sort of go with it and
Use them
try and
better.
control it best you can. Yeah, use it the best you can. We've spoken quite a lot about the bands, the English bands in America. I mean, it did sound like a real grind back then, didn't it? Because you couldn't just do one round of America and that was it. You just had to keep going back and back and back. I don't know if it's the same anymore though with social media. I guess you don't have to do that so much anymore.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you do. You have to play.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to play, but people can already find you to a degree.
Sure, you might not have to do all the local radio stations and stuff that you had to do back in the day, but you have to go to those towns. You have to physically be there.
Yeah, because I remember, I don't know why this example's come up, but I remember Robbie Williams talking about it back in the day. It could have been big in America, but he just couldn't be bothered to. He did like one circuit of it, and then it's just like, I'm already massive in the UK, so I might as well just stick with that. Although maybe that's just an excuse for him because he didn't break America. Probably more likely. Big place, though, isn't it? I've never been. Mike, have you been to America?
Just a couple of times, yeah. Work,
Yeah, no, I've never
not pleasure.
been. Luke, you've been, haven't you?
I've been a couple of times. Yeah, it's good. It's good, man. It's exactly how you think it's going to be. Basically, it's great.
Yeah, Run DMC got mentioned. They got a new album out, I think. Run DMC. I think my mate went to see them last week in London.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I think Public
think what?
Enemy dropped a new album as well this week.
Was it them? Have I got them mixed up?
You might have done. I think Public Enemy
embarrassing.
dropped. Public Enemy dropped a new album. Yeah,
What about Run DMC?
didn't hear about that. They might have done. I have no information about that.
Maybe that's next week.
Yeah.
Apollo 440 got mentioned. Yeah, I didn't realise he did a lot of the vocals for that. I used to be a big fan of Apollo 440 back in the uni days. And I went back and had a look at one of their live performances, and there he is in his Gaye Bykers t-shirt.
Brilliant.
Singing for Apollo
Yeah.
440.
And he said he co-wrote "Stop the Rock," man. So that's a huge tune, right?
It is. And then after the interview finished, he showed us, didn't he, the voice box that he used to make that. He said this sort of paid for my
House in
He made
Brazil.
some money out of it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, big hit, wasn't it? Stop the
Yeah.
Rock. So there we go. That was Gaye Bykers on Acid. Thanks so much, guys, for coming on. Enjoyed that one. If you are watching, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. And if you're listening, rate, review, and again, share it with your friends so that they can find the podcast. If you want to sponsor the podcast, you can email us at stupidandcontagiouspodcast@gmail.com. If you're a band and want to promote something, then just drop us an email and we'll sort that out for you. Look, give you a bit of a review if you're a band and all that sort of jazz. And download our app, Stupid app, onto your telephone so you can seamlessly go from the podcast to Luke's mixtape.
Every episode I make a mixtape. So, of course, plenty of Gaye Bykers on it. Also, a load of the other stuff that they talked about. If you're into your Grebo, there'll be a load of stuff of that on it as well that we talked about today. Also, if you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you are into that scene, then we've had Jesus Jones on the podcast. We've had Properly Yourself. We've had EMF. We've had the Wonderstuff. All of the Grebos, basically. So dig into the archives and have a listen to that.
There you go. Mike, thanks so much for coming on this week.
Yeah,
I do
thanks for
appreciate that.
Really helped us out.
Oh, I enjoyed it. And thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
Give
once
it a
more,
quick
what's
final plug?
the Bandcamp place to go to?
The link will be in the description. I think it's Winnetka Records. It's been released on, and it's out Friday.
There you go. So that's it for this one. Join us next week for the big one, episode 100.
Yes.
Stupid and Contagious podcast. I don't know what to do here because Dave usually
Mike?
signs off.
Come on, Mike. It's up to Mike to do it.
I can't do that. I can't.
Come on. It's like sleeping with someone's wife or something. Is that what you're saying?
Do your own one.
I could do See You in 60 Seconds.